Hello, everyone, and welcome back to
Welcome back!
Rank Masters.
Oh my god, it's been a while.
Shit, it has been so long. There was a big Rank Master-sized hole in my heart, which I want to clarify is 9 inches?
Wait, the implication that Rank Masters as a whole, the podcast is 9 inches. Interesting to think about. No. It's everyone who listens to Rank Masters instantly has 9 inches. 9 inches where? I'm not going to tell you. That's for you to decide. They have a 9-inch long left pinky toe.
Exactly. Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome.
It has been a hiatus, and I'm so excited to be back.
Yeah. This has been fun. So, in case you can't tell, some things have changed, at least on my end, visually speaking.
Yeah. How long have I been saying that I'm going to change my background? And we took, a month and a half hiatus, and it is still the exact same background.
I was going to say, you've said that, since we started back in January, you were saying you would change your background. No, the only thing that's changed is whether or not you have that X-Files poster in the background.
Yeah, that thing moves around because sometimes I have to look for something in the boxes that are still sitting over here.
I love that. I love that so much.
I swear I'm about to go to I'm getting ready to go to Furrydelphia.
Ooh!
I have a friend coming over to my house in October. And I'm like, okay, shit, I need to make sure everything is actually where it's supposed to be by October, because someone will be in my house long term.
Yeah.
Not long term. Long term is in 4 days.
Oh, very long term. Wow. Ooh.
Right. I know. So I'm like, okay, everything has to be where it's actually supposed to be, and I can't just be living out of boxes.
Wow,
I'm a mess.
You never organized the place whenever I came to visit SMH. I'm just not that. I'm not a good enough friend.
That's because you've seen me in my filth, and you're like, I've already been here.
Hey, you've seen me in mine. I understand that.
You've seen me in much worse than what my current house is. You've seen what my current house is, and you've seen when I was super mega depressed and wasn't doing shit. So,
yeah. Anyway, enough preamble. Hi, we're the Rank Masters. We're the critics of internet lists. I think that's the longest we've gone without saying that.
Well, we have just not been able to catch up on this one-on-one basis.
We haven't!
Because I've been traveling like crazy and you've been moving.
Yeah.
So
both traveling in very different types of ways.
Exactly. Because we went on hiatus because I went to FWA, was it?
I think it started with FWA, and then the weekend after you got back from FWA, I started the process of moving, which meant that I had disassembled my desk, and I'm like, I could have recorded this with my laptop just on my lap, almost like it's a laptop. That's where it's supposed to be. But I thought it was just too much to deal with, and then the very next week I got rid of my ISP. And then it's just been a process. And then I was in this place last week, so we could have recorded, but you were at TFS.
TFS.
Yeah, so we're all back now. We're done with the random shenanigans, and we're back. Is this season 2, or was that just a hiatus? I don't know what we count this as.
I think we'll call this season 2, I guess.
Hell yeah!
Nice.
Well, welcome back to season 2.
Yeah, it was we made it through 25 episodes. I think that's enough for a season.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable amount. We got renewed. We got greenlit by the producers for season 2.
The producers, my 2 rats.
Your 2 rats
that constantly supervise us and make noises.
Gotta love them.
They're like, "Yep, we're greenlit for round 2. We need you back." I have a special list for us today. Special list. Only the fact that we're going back to WatchMojo.com.
Yo! Starting season 2 off strong.
Yeah, starting season 2 with a Watch Mojo list.
That's how you know it's going to be a good year.
This is good year. Good. Yeah. Next 25 episodes. We'll
see who knows?
We'll see how long until we need another break.
Whatever it is.
You ready?
I'm ready. What is the top 10 list? I don't actually. You haven't told me yet.
No, I didn't tell you because I was like, I'm going to find a list that's fun. This is top 10 birds that attack humans.
Trace. Wait a minute, Trace.
What?
We're starting off really strong this season, huh?
Yeah, no, we have to go to top 10 birds that attack humans.
Okay. Off the bat, I'm thinking magpies. I'm thinking kites. Kites are vicious.
Kites?
Oh my, yeah, kites.
The inanimate object?
No, the bird.
Like the Benjamin Franklin?
I mean, Benjamin Franklin is aggressive. He will actively seek out and destroy anyone. But no, like bird. Here, hold on. Is that actually a bird? I know that there was a bird like where I used to live called a kite. Yeah, the swallow-tailed kite. They were mean. They were mean as hell.
Interesting.
You've never heard of a kite?
I've never heard of a kite.
That's your fault.
Maybe that's like a where you grew up type bird, and not where I grew up type.
It
bird.
could have been, yeah. But we grew up like within like 4 to 5 hours of each other. That wouldn't have been that bad.
I think the actual distance is like 6 hours.
Okay, whatever. It's only one more than 5.
I know.
Come on, Trace.
Being
pedantic as hell. I love. You know what? Fair. That's what this channel's all about. Okay, so top 10 birds who attack humans.
That attack humans specifically. This is a survival guide for anyone who lives around a lot of birds. This is what you need to look out for.
If you are in need of a survival guide, look anywhere but Watch Mojo. This seems like a horrible idea.
Like you're right. Like you're getting attacked by a million birds. Like, what are these birds? Looks up Watch Mojo. Like,
hello and welcome to Watch Mojo. We're counting down the top 10 birds who will kill you in an instant. You know, that's just chickens. That is just chickens. You're right.
Growing up on a farm, like the spoiler alert, chickens are not on here.
Really? Chickens will attack you. They're mean. They're mean and aggressive.
If you have a rooster, that shit will kill you. If you're a baby, that thing is coming for your eyes. But here, coming in at Watch Mojo's number 10 is crows. Okay,
crows. Yeah, all of the corvids, any bird that's smart enough to understand anything,
that they are attacking you, they're getting ready to kill you.
They're getting ready to murder you. Yeah, all the corvids, like the crows, the magpie, like they get mean if they want to, and I think it's fun for them. I think they're actually enjoying it. You know,
crows are often considered pests, but they are also highly intelligent. They use tools, work together to defend themselves from predators, and remember specific people and places. They can even imitate human speech. Impressive, right? Definitely useless. Wait, no. Sorry.
Useless?
Useless.
Useless?
No, it's unless.
Oh.
Definitely, unless you get attacked by one or worse, a mob of them. Crows may attack you if you walk into their territory.
Yeah.
If you seem too interested in their nests or you have food, they swoop in silently to take you by surprise and then start screeching and cawing as they attack.
Yeah. It makes perfect sense. They are the perfect predators for humans. Because, as you mentioned, they can imitate human speech. So they could just make sound. They could pretend to be your friend and that they're luring you out into an open area. And then, so they can use tools so they could fly by and hit you in the head with a hammer. Boom! Immediate win.
Actually,
they're hunting for humans soon.
I don't even think I've seen a crow use a hammer. Now, a power drill?
Power drill. Yeah, they could do that easily. Just drill straight into the head.
Use a power drill. No, I've never been attacked by a crow. I've only ever had crows be extremely nice to me. So.
Yeah, same. But I know that is a thing that they can do, but I don't think they do it very often. I think they're only doing it like if they're protecting a nest or something like that. You know,
because like the other day I literally went to the laundromat and one of the little birdies was just jumping around there at the laundromat.
Birdie.
And I'm more scared of the pigs at the laundromat.
Oh. For a second, I thought you were talking about like real pigs. I'm like, wait a minute.
That is the whole reason I said it like that.
Yep.
Yeah, the police.
Yeah, they hang out around laundromats, and what a horrible place. You know.
It's because they're trying to police homelessness. Because the laundromats are a great place to go and cool off.
Yeah.
You know, they're just places you go and sit for a long time. So if you're homeless and you go and sit in a laundromat, you don't look conspicuous until you've been there for like hours. But yeah, no, the police make me very uncomfortable while I'm there. They'll come and like look through the windows, all mysterious, like making sure, and I'll be like, go away.
Back where I used to live, there was like a downtown area, and there was a laundromat on one side of a street and a police station on the other, and I'm like, what? Horrible spacing for that. But like I thought it was really funny because like right next to the police station there was also a CBD store, and they were definitely selling like Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10. I'm like, it's not a state where weed is legal, so I'm like, they're playing the risky game.
I don't get this. This is something that I feel like the branding on this is really dumb.
Yeah.
Delta 9 just means weed. But when they sell Delta 9, they're not selling actual weed, so I don't know what the hell they're doing.
I know, it's the whole Delta, like, it's weird, it's unregulated, it's not...
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me, and I'm also, not dealing with it any further. Granted, I live in a place where actual weed is, you know, accessible and legal, so I don't have to.
Legal state, bitch. Not saying I like weed or anything. I'm a
no. Yeah,
human.
absolutely not.
I've never been inebriated in my life.
If this is your first, if this is the first episode you've ever listened to of Rank Masters, don't go back. Don't try to find any episodes with evidence to the contrary. It's not like we've done an episode
to the drugs episode.
I was getting there. I'm like, we've done an episode specifically about like drugs. I'm like, okay, yeah, fair.
Yeah, I've never done a drug in my life. I don't know what liquor is. What is that?
Alcohol. Whoa.
This is very funny actually because at I just went to TFS.
Yeah.
And
where's this gonna go, Trace?
So at TFS, it's in Texas, so you know, there's not a lot of weed there unless you're brave.
Yeah.
And some people are very brave.
Oh my god, people bring shit everywhere. I swear.
But since TFS is like mostly locals at that convention, like they bring so much alcohol. Like they have the ability to bring so much alcohol.
They do.
And I
Texans know how to drink.
So true.
Am I wrong?
But like someone brought a literal a blender to make margaritas.
Fun.
By the end of the night, I don't remember shit, and I drank way too much at TFS.
Understandable.
But my friend, but I had a message on my phone that I looked and it was like, "Damn, you don't kiss me like that," and I'm like, "What the fuck are they talking about?"
Huh?
And
Trace, where is this going?
And I asked the person who messaged me this, like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "Oh, you and this other person, you know, like you were cuddling a whole lot." And I was like, why did you message me that? Anyway, so I talked to the person that I allegedly cuddled with, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I don't remember shit either." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And then they messaged me after TFS is over, and they're like, "I think I understand why you got that message." And they're like, "Apparently we got shit-faced and started making out in front of everyone."
I mean, you know what? Actually fair. You know what? Sometimes you just gotta give someone a nice smoochie, you know, just a big old sloppy kiss.
And that's like the first time that I've drank into excess, and I blame the margaritas.
Fair enough.
Not the 5 shots I had before the margaritas started.
Trace.
It was a good damn convention. All right?
It was. You know what? Fair.
I had to let loose a little bit. I drove 5 hours to be there alone.
Yeah.
Which next time I go to Texas, you're coming back with me.
I was gonna say I came with you the first time. I'm like, I don't think I could imagine doing all of that on my own. Oof.
Yeah, so you are coming back. I stopped at that same gas station that we stopped at.
Same one. Oh, I love that. Yeah, we stopped.
Perfect location.
It is. It's like right at the midpoint between where you're leaving from and, you know, Dallas. And like it's a good spot for that. I like that.
Yeah, it's just really nice.
Anywho, back at Crows.
Oh no, we're done with Crows.
We're done with Crows. Fuck the Crows. Yeah, we have.
I mean, we've talked about everything you can talk about Crows. We've talked about power tools, getting drunk, making out. That's all things Crows do.
Yeah, exactly. I every time I see a crow, they're smooching. Maybe sometimes often not a crow.
Tongues and throats.
They really do. Oh my god.
Coming in at number 9, Australian magpies.
Yes. Oh my god. Alaskan magpies are nice. Australian magpies are not. They are so mean. You've seen the Bluey episode, Trace.
I have.
You have. You know.
You're completely right. Despite its name, the Australian magpie is not closely related to the European and American magpie, though the breed is similarly omnivorous, intelligent, and noisy. Unlike most magpies, however, Australian magpies can be downright dangerous.
Yeah.
During breeding season, male magpies will swoop from behind to attack unsuspecting walkers, joggers, cyclists, and dads who are just trying to have a good day with their daughter.
What? Watch Mojo, what the fuck? Why do you add that? Oh,
I added that.
I'm like, that sounds so very, very unrelated to how Watch Mojo usually talks. But no, you're just making a Bluey reference.
Yeah, I'm just making the Bluey reference.
You're just making the Bluey reference. You know what? Fair. I get it.
Tragically, a recent attack proved fatal. A mother holding her 5-month-old daughter was attacked by an Australian magpie and fell, critically injuring the baby. Experts say the best way to avoid a magpie attack is to wear a helmet.
Yeah.
And though it seems counterintuitive to turn and face the magpie down, as they prefer to attack from behind.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense.
I also prefer to attack
shit.
from behind.
Trace, hold on now.
Because they're vulnerable.
They are. But yeah, that's devastating to hear that they cause actual human deaths. Like, oh.
Yes. Sorry to bring that down after talking about margaritas.
Margaritas, making out, murder.
Wow.
The three M's of this podcast.
The 3 M's of this podcast. We're actually going to rename our podcast. We're going to start a true crime podcast. We're going to call it Making Out, Margaritas, and Murder.
Margaritas, Making Out, Murder. Hell yeah. I love this. This is the new podcast. You know what? Episode 1 of season 1 was us trying to figure out what podcast format we wanted. I think we should just pivot right now.
I think we finally got it. After all this time, I think we finally discovered the podcast we want to make.
We did. You're just going to have to visit.
Margaritas, Makeouts, and Murder.
You'll make the margaritas. I'll make the milkshakes. We can make out together.
No, okay. This sounds a whole lot like, and I'm going to expose myself so hardcore. One of my guilty pleasures is the podcast.
I've never heard of that podcast.
Sorry. Whatever. My guilty pleasure podcast is between, why do I keep on, the name keeps on dropping, and all I can think of is Christine Schaefer and M. Schulz, and That's Why We Drink. That's what it's called.
Okay.
It is a true crime podcast, but at the very beginning, for the first half, it's a paranormal podcast.
Interesting.
Do you see why I listen to it now?
Yeah. So wait, when you say the first half, do you mean like the first half of the duration the show's been on, or like the first half of each episode?
The first half of each episode. They
That's
do one
cool.
paranormal story and one true crime story.
That's
so
pretty
I'll
unique.
I'll listen to the paranormal story, and then I'll listen a little bit, and if the true crime story is like, in not antiquity, because that's way far away. If it's like, in the 1800s, then yeah, sure, I'll listen. Or like it's something that's not just like a tragedy that will make me cry, then I'll listen to it. But their whole thing is literally one of them drinks alcohol and one of them drinks milkshakes, or at least it used to be. So when you said that, I was like,
I love that.
We're taking someone else's brand if we do that.
No, I love that. That would be so much fun, because I love milkshakes. I make my own milkshakes all the time. They're so much fun.
Mayo milkshakes?
I make my own milkshakes. Sorry, I'm nasally. The place where I moved to is a lot more humid than I'm used to, so I'm getting used to it. I'm like constantly stuffed up and whatnot. But yeah, mayo milkshake sounds disgusting.
Yeah, that sounds. You like mayonnaise on the milkshake? That sounds horrible.
I would hate that. I just hate mayonnaise in general. So yeah, mayonnaise milkshake would be disgusting. But yeah, I make my own milkshakes. I love milkshakes. They're so much fun. One of the people I work for was recently doing like a mixology stream, and I submitted a boozy milkshake for him to try, and it was so fucking good. It was absolutely delicious. Boozy milkshakes are banging. I love boozy milkshakes. They're great.
Sure. Coming in at number 8.
Yeah, we can't. This is why we're starting the season off this strong, because we're not going to stay on topic for any of these entries, are we?
No, none at all.
Not once.
Coming in at number 8, we are going super American with the bald eagle.
Really? I did not think they were attackers. I didn't think they attacked humans very often. Yeah, but I mean, they usually steer clear of humans, I thought. Like, I saw a few... I saw a few bald eagles when I visited Alaska because they're very prevalent up there. And they were always,
I've
they were
seen
hunting
them
fish and whatnots, but
I've seen them here in Kansas.
I've seen some here in Kansas, but not very often. Like not
Yeah,
it's
in
like
Alaska,
once
every 3 years.
Yeah, for real. Meanwhile, in Alaska, you drive down. There's like one on every street. Genuinely.
Oh, they're just
they're very
just
common.
Little men. They're just little people down up there.
They said that they had they kept track of all the nests in like a certain area. Like I stopped at Juneau and they had like a nest cam and like, so here's the 5 different nests like on this block, and we're like, okay, damn.
Well, hey, you know what? That's cool. We'll actually talk about later another species that used to be endangered that they tracked really well, and now they're not endangered.
Yay!
But 8 is bald eagle. While there are legends about eagles flying off with human babies, this is not observed in modern times.
Huh?
I think they're specifically talking about like thunderbirds.
Oh yeah, okay. The myth and legend of the Thunderbird, that makes sense.
Which is a whole different thing. Like that's a whole different thing than an eagle. But however, if you approach the nest of a bald eagle when there are eggs or youngsters in it, you'd better watch out. Bald eagles use their powerful beaks and long curved talons to grab and rip apart prey. Attacks on humans are not often life-threatening, but they are serious, painful, and so fast that people have no time to react. Every year, multiple inhabitants of Alaska seek treatment for head wounds caused by bald eagle talons. Even if you don't get attacked, U.S. federal law prohibits going nearer than 330 feet to an eagle nest, so best keep away anyway.
Okay, so our tour guide broke that law, apparently.
Oh, that tour guide was like, he was like, there's this law, I'm gonna ignore it completely. Go and caress those eggs. Lick them a little bit if you want.
Give him a little smoochie.
Yeah, we don't fucking care here.
That's wild to think about, that they have like actual laws in place to stay away from nests, but like they were very prevalent. There were a ton of nests. Like they were huge too. Like bald eagle nests are enormous. Because I was told that they like, once they make a nest, they stick with that nest for the rest of their lives. So like every time they breed, it's always in that nest. They continue to grow and grow and grow. I'm like, that's wild.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's big. Yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, I feel like it would be extremely hard if like nests are as prevalent as you're saying to stay that 330 feet away from all of them.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because you're like, always within 100 feet is a bald eagle nest. Like, what is that coming from? I feel like there's something that I'm referencing there that I don't know that I'm referencing.
I don't know. I haven't heard that before.
Is it like one of those weird 90s commercials that's like, always within 100 feet is a murderer?
It might be. It might be like one of those public PSAs from the 90s or early thousands.
Did I send you the TikTok of that fucking old commercial that's like, this one could be George Washington? Who's that? Annie Oakley. And that one's Napoleon Bonaparte. And then just all of a sudden in a voice it goes, reincarnation.
Huh? You did not send me this. You did not send me this in the slightest. What are you talking about, Trace?
Over this TikTok. It's one of those old 90s commercials of like trying to sell you something, and I can't remember what it is, but it's like but it's like pet reincarnation or something that they're like trying to explain, and it's like
in a commercial.
Like, literally, like I think they're trying to sell like some weird 90s thing that you saw.
If you buy our product, your pet will reincarnate as another pet. You could buy your pet back from us after it dies.
No, they were trying to say that your pet was someone famous. So like they're like, oh, this cutie, this is George Washington, and that one, Annie Oakley, and that one, Napoleon Bonaparte, and then just a completely different voice, reverb turned all the way up. And like as a 90s graphic, and it just goes reincarnation. Weird. The funniest. I'm gonna send it to you after the podcast.
Please do. I need to know what you're dying about
it so much because it is hilarious to me. Like, and they cut it off. Like, obviously the commercial continues, but they cut it off right after he says reincarnation.
Yes. I mean, that's TikTok in general. The funniest cuts. Oh my god. They do a good job of that.
They really do. I think it's hilarious.
It really is. I'm glad I'm not addicted to TikTok because like I can doom scroll for like 30 minutes at most, but I don't get stuck in the loop of like I wasted 6 hours on TikTok, and I'm so worried that I still might because I have that addictive like trait, but I haven't yet, and I'm proud of that for now.
Seth, can I be so real with you for like 3 seconds?
Yes.
I saw that you made a new Twitter account for your business, and the first thought that popped into my head was like, I wonder how long this one will last.
Oh, it's the moment more like there are more people on Blue Sky within my circle than on Twitter. I'm immediately deleting that Twitter. Legit, I only made that Twitter for PayPal because PayPal Business, for some reason, you can't make invoices without PayPal Business, and PayPal Business requires some form of social media. And the only options were like Facebook or Twitter or something like that. And I'm like, I don't want to connect this to my Facebook.
Right.
And I guess I have to make a Twitter business account. So I never use it. I'm only on, I only use Blue Sky as in terms of like socials now, which, hey, follow me as ODISeth. It's much more horny than it should be. I'm going to be honest, be prepared for that.
That's also like, I'm also wondering how long you'll continue that on Blue Sky, because I remember when we first when you first started YouTube, you were like, oh, I don't want my audience to cross over with that audience and whatnot. So
a lot has changed. My perspective on that has changed a lot in the last 4 years, and actually in largely the last like 6 months. I've been doing video editing work for some VTubers, and I'm realizing just how much overlap there is between just a general acceptance of horniness and VTubing. Like, so many VTubers have, like, Fansly accounts where they basically only fans. And they openly advertise that on their Twitch streams or on their YouTube videos. And they're openly talk about, like, NSFW topics. And they tease their audience with horny things and say, hey, you want to get up and my VTuber titties or something like that? And they make a whole thing out of it. And it works. It's not, like, a problem. It's not... I was so worried that I would develop such like a safe for work audience because my content is safe for work. But I'm like, that you can have that like overlap and it not be an issue apparently. So I'm hoping to talk with a lot more of them and just say like, how have you fostered that community where it's like okay and not a problem. But I'm more than fine being NSFW publicly now.
Okay.
Which I was not 4 years. I was not 4 years ago. I honestly wasn't like 6 months ago.
That's completely fair. And you know what? We'll continue to ebb and flow and change. And if we have to delete this episode later,
I mean, we've also talked about NSFW topics on this podcast many times before.
Very much.
This is nothing new to this.
I have been watching the Pokemon World Championships that happened this weekend as we're recording. And
how does this? I'm curious how this ties. What is the connection?
Dragapult keeps on showing up, like they have banners of Dragapult.
Yeah.
And every time I see that thing, the first thing that pops into my mind is you saying, I'll slurp it from its tail up. And it bothers me to my core. It's like a cold chill runs through my body and I shudder every time I look at it because I can just hear you saying that and I'm just like, ugh. Like, I hate that I remember that so vividly.
I love that. That is iconic. Oh, beautiful. I've ruined Dragapult for you.
You have, and that is like one of my favorite pseudo legendaries because it's a ghost type, and I love ghost types with all my heart. They're
ghost
so
types
fantastic.
Are cool. They really are. Anywho,
which also congratulations to the world champ now for VGC. I don't know who you are yet because I haven't watched the championship match yet.
That's it. Yeah, they're streaming in Japan, and I'm like, oh, we're American. I'm sleeping.
Literally, that's what it is. Like, I can only watch for so long, and then I gotta go to bed. Okay, I'm sorry. And last night, the championship matches didn't start till midnight, and I was like,
oh, that's brutal.
I'm gonna be in bed. Coming in at number 7, we have Mockingbirds.
Really? Okay, I did not know that they were aggressive. I don't know much about Mockingbirds, actually. I'm gonna be honest.
All I know is that Eminem once made a song called Mockingbird, and that thing went hard. That's the only Eminem song that I think I still enjoy to this day.
Huh. Fair enough.
Well, I'm also a certified Eminem hater now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, people who like Eminem. Listening back to his old music, I'm like, yeah, no. None of this was good. It's all shock value humor, and my taste of shock value humor has completely diminished thanks to the internet. Like, it's not good anymore, and it makes me feel icky.
Shock humor is it's such a strange genre to still be existing today. Like, after the Newgrounds era of the early 2000s, you're like, there's not much more need for it anymore. You know.
Well, to be fair, he was making the music in like the 90s and early 2000s, so he was in peak shock
product
humor
of his time for sure.
But still, and also he released Kamikaze, and what was the other one that he released around that time? I don't know. The album sucked.
I like how you're asking me like I know jack shit about music.
Right, but it sucked. It was a bad album. No one liked it.
Fair.
So. Really
fuck you, Eminem, I guess.
Eminem. Yeah, fuck you, Eminem. Anyway,
Eminem, if you're listening, eat shit.
Yeah, Eminem, if you're listening, eat shit. Make a diss track about me, okay?
Do it, honestly. Hey, honestly, Rank Masters as a podcast would pop the hell off if
right. If Eminem decided to make a diss track about us, he would definitely have a line about you slurping up Dragapult. But
no, this is the only episode he's ever seen. He's all the info in the diss track is just from this. I'm like, yeah, that works.
Yeah, that's completely fair.
Anyway, Mockingbird. Right.
I was going to make another comment on something, but now I can't even think of it.
Okay.
Mockingbirds are small. In fact, they are the smallest bird species on our list.
Whoa.
So why should you beware them? Well, as you know, mockingbirds can remember and imitate sounds of other birds, animals, and even objects, which is how they got their name. What few people know is that their visual memory is just as good. During nesting season, mockingbirds will swoop and screech at anyone approaching their nests, and they'll recognize the person for days afterward, even if they're wearing different clothes. Once someone is perceived as a threat, mockingbirds will single them out for attack later on, ignoring other passersby. Very few animals can distinguish between one human and another by sight, so mockingbirds may be common, but their abilities are not.
So they're not like actually dangerous, but their attacking nature is that they can be more targeted than most birds. Okay, that's fair. You know, that's legitimately, when they started talking about how like their photographic memory is amazing, I'm like, holy shit, do they recognize house keys? Can they pick locks? Can they break into my house and rob me because they've seen my key?
This is like, what is that Alfred Hitchcock movie? Is it just called Birds?
Huh?
Okay, right. You don't know music and you don't know movies. I forget this.
I know some movies. I know more about movies than I do about yeah. Anyway.
About the other thing?
I had a stroke. I had a stroke there.
It's like a very famous horror movie where like the problem is that like birds are like attacking people. I don't know. I haven't watched it.
Weird.
Because no hate to Alfred Hitchcock. I've only watched one of your movies and it didn't impress me. So I'm sorry. Maybe I'm not a movie girly.
Movie girly. Hey, you know what? That's
it just
fair.
wasn't great.
Not all of us can be everything, Trace.
I know, not all of us can have amazing and cool interests.
Mm-hmm.
Like Pokemon.
Like Pokemon.
Like Pokemon and Vor.
Pokemon and Vor. Well, I was going to tie this into another stupid little interest of mine. Mockingbird. The only other time I've ever thought about mockingbirds just in my casual life was reading Hunger Games because of the Mockingjays.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah. But...
Do you have anything to say about the Hunger Games series of books?
No, not really.
And that's the sentiment heard around the world.
Look, I know Super Carlin Brothers have been doing some Hunger Games stuff recently, and I'm like, I don't care.
Wow, you are like 10 years too late, my friends. Like, people, that was a phenomenon for a solid like 5 years, and then it just dropped off because everyone realized, actually, maybe it wasn't that good.
I mean, it was fine. It was entertaining at the very least. But that and like the Divergent series were hold on, two very different tiers of quality. I feel like Divergent was horrible in comparison.
Different tiers
like,
of quality.
Hunger Games is okay. It's all right. It's nothing notable. It didn't really have any impact on my life. Divergent was rough. Bad. And my family was obsessed. We reread all of it. We watched all the movies when they dropped. I'm like, oh,
interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why. We have horrible taste.
my YA book obsession was the I Am Number 4 series, if anyone remembers that.
I've heard of it. I don't remember it, though.
They made a singular movie, and that movie bombed because they did it bad. So Tragic. They didn't make any other movies. I think there's supposed to be a TV series in production. I think, maybe, possibly.
Okay.
We'll see. But that was my YA young adult fiction, which, since you've never heard of it, I'll tell you. It's about aliens that come to Earth.
Yeah.
And they're trying to hide from another alien species that are trying to kill them.
Oh, that's cool.
And there's 9 of them. There's actually 10 of them, but that's a spoiler.
Look, gasp! That's a spoiler! How dare you!
There's 9 of them, and each of them have a mark that's supposed to protect them. And this is... I've always felt super bad for number 1. Well, for number 1. Because...
What?
Like,
Why?
The like charm that's placed on them by this ancient alien species is like you have to kill them in order, so you have to start with number 1.
Oh.
So that fucking sucks for whoever number 1 is. Like, I'm so sorry that you got to get killed first. You're the one who's always in danger. The charm does nothing for you.
That's fair.
But then like the whole entire thing, like the first few books is like the aliens. Well, the first book starts out with number 4 realizing that he's next, that the first 3 had been
The first
killed.
3 had already died.
Yeah, so he's like, shit, I am next. And the number 4 is your main protagonist throughout the books. I actually highly suggest reading it. Like, it's not...
This sounds interesting, yeah.
It's not amazing literature, but it's very interesting, and I like it. But it's also painfully straight. The next series of books has more gay in it, because there's a continuation.
Love that.
Which is not finished. It's currently ongoing, so...
Hell yeah. Oh, you know what? I might have to pick this up. I was thinking about, like, rereading the Pendragon series, because that was, like, my... That and Percy Jackson were my 2, like, YA book series back in the day.
That's right. I did read Percy Jackson.
And I think everyone read Percy Jackson. That shit ruled.
I've been thinking of reading the Red Pyramid series.
I tried. I don't think that was for me. I think you're a lot more Egyptian. Like a lot more interested in Egyptian stuff than I am. So I think you might find more joy in it than I would. But I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, that's what... Well, and apparently the one they made for the Roman gods is also, like, very gay. That's what I've been told.
The Roman one is incredibly gay. I read through all of that.
Okay, so...
That was good.
But I really want to read the Red Pyramid, which that has a different name. It's like the name of the kids... That's what the series is
The Red
called,
Pyramid's the first book, right?
Yeah, but the Red Pyramid's the first book. And I kind of want to read those just because, like, I love Egyptian stuff. Like, I think it's so cool. I have Egyptian fever, which, for my archaeology girlies will understand what that means. For everyone else, look it up, I guess. I'm not going to explain to you shit.
Yeah, no explanations. You will not learn anything on this podcast. Nothing. Zero information. If you came here to learn, we are literally just a turn off your brain podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're here to make you feel like people are in your room.
My brain is already off.
Exactly. My brain's been turned off for years.
True. Big true. And with that note, what's number 6 on this list, Trace?
Gulls.
Oh, like seagulls. Okay. Yeah, seagulls are aggressive. Oh my god. I lived in... Okay. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you go ahead. You lived in Florida.
I lived in Florida, yes. I have seen, like... In person, seagulls ripping other birds out, like other baby birds out of nests, and like, it gruesome stuff. Like, seagulls are some of the meanest motherfuckers I have ever seen, and they're not mean to humans, at least not very often. Like, they'll steal your sandwich, but they're not. Whatever, just bring a Ziploc and be careful with it. But like, they are very aggressive, and like, they don't even like kill the other birds for food or anything like that. I think it's just for pleasure, or a territory thing. I think they just do it because fuck like you, cats. I guess. Yeah, exactly. It's so weird. Seagulls are mean as hell.
Well, it's like I finally, since I traveled to the East Coast for the first time in my life. Well, I guess technically I went to Disney World when I was in high school, but that's like not real Florida.
That's different.
That's Disney World, Florida. But I traveled to the East Coast for the first time in my life since I was a baby. And I finally saw seagulls for the first time and remembered them, which is very cool.
Yeah.
I didn't see them do much because we tried to stay inside because it was like one of the hotter weekends over where I was. But let's see. There are many types of gulls, and in fact, no particular species is known as the seagull.
Mm-hmm.
But
seagull's just a blanket term for them.
But whatever you you want to call them, gulls are notorious fiends. Like eagles, they have extremely sharp beaks and strong talons to catch fish. Unlike eagles, gulls. This is a lot of g. This is a g.
Unlike eagle, the gold. Oh my god,
Yeah,
that's a hard sentence.
It's a very gull-heavy paragraph.
Yeah.
Gulls will try to eat whatever they can snatch and aggressively pursue anything that looks edible. They are smart like you.
Trace.
This brings me back to, for the longest time, I've wanted to create a secondary persona called Lunch.
Really?
I have told you this. I have told you this many times.
I'm just surprised you're willing to talk about it here.
Well, I mean, like, because it's not a vor thing.
Uh-huh.
It has
sure.
never been a vor thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be, like, I think Lunch is just such a funny name, and also like has punch to it.
Yeah.
That I think it would make a great persona name or like an OC name. Like Lunch would be funny.
It is. It's a funny name.
My one fear, though, is that it'll make even more vor furries flock to me.
You already have a lot of vor furries, like
so
as friends and fans, and I'm like, it's kind of weird.
It's
you're not
very fun.
Into vor. I am, but
I'm like, there are scenarios where I'm like, okay, that's interesting and funny, haha. Like I sent you a comic recently by someone that I was like, that's a funny premise. But it doesn't like trigger an endorphin in my brain because it's specifically vor in some way. Like I don't know. But
yeah, I get you.
But like, because I'm so closely situated with so many vor furries, it comes across my timeline, and I've been able to desensitize myself. I've had much exposure therapy to vor in my day. So
that's how it starts.
I want to make
that's how it starts, Trace.
An OC called Lunch, and if anyone listening has suggestions for what Lunch's species should be, like tweet at me at Yenapooch, because I would like to know.
I think Lunch should be the same species as Jam, just miscellaneous dog.
But I'm already Yin / miscellaneous dog.
What if Lunch was a rat?
That's honestly
that would be cool.
I've been kind of leaning towards.
That would be fun. I think I've told you about this, but like I know another furry or persona like with a very similar naming scheme named Tofu, who is a mouse. Yeah, and rodents just kind of lend themselves to funny food names like that.
Yeah,
I wonder why.
I think it would also be very funny, right? I think it would also be very funny if like Lunch was very much a predator animal, like a crocodile.
That would be so funny. That would be hilarious. I would like to see that.
So I don't know. We're thinking about it. Okay, it's been in my brain literally for like a year.
Lunch should be a seagull.
No,
because they steal people's. Come on, Trace.
I hate. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to all the bird furries in the world. I do not like bird characters that much. Cass from Legend of Zelda, great guy. As soon as it gets above the head, I hate him.
What? Above the head?
Yeah.
What do you? Huh?
Well, above the neck, I guess.
What do you mean by that?
Because he's a bird. I don't like the way bird anthros look. Okay?
Oh, so you only care about his torso down. You're only horny for him.
I care about his meaty schlong.
Oh, starting off season 2 strong, baby. All right.
But then it gets like above the head, like not above the head. Sorry, I keep on saying above the head, but like
above the head.
Like,
yeah.
The beak makes me think like this would never work, and I don't know. For some reason, that happens only with birds and not like literally the a billion other things that wouldn't work.
Like, I understand that.
Digigrade would never work for anthro characters because there's literally a reason why we as two-legged animals are plantigrade.
Yeah.
It's because it works much better when you stand up. Digigrade would not evolve that way. I'm sorry, furries. It doesn't work that way.
They would just fall over constantly.
So,
well, actually, hold on, because there are digigrade like prosthetics that work really well. Like for people who've lost their legs, they have digigrade prosthetics, and they wind up working a lot better than plantigrade actual legs do, or at least better than plantigrade prosthetics.
But they're not explicitly digigrade. Like there's differences in them.
Yeah.
But like I think it's a lot with energy expulsion. Like having digigrade legs would be much more energy would consume much more energy to use than our regular plantigrade legs
I guess that
do.
makes sense.
And it also expands our balance a lot more, the way that our legs are positioned. I don't know. I learned a lot about this in mammalogy, and it's like it left my brain mostly.
That's fair.
Coming in at number 5.
Oh my god, yeah, we're almost like, 45 minutes into the episode, and we're only at 5. This happens fairly often. Owls? Really? Really?
Owls. Which,
I've
honestly,
never heard of an owl swooping someone.
Barn owls?
No.
Okay, whatever. I've heard many people get swooped by barn owls. But, oh, here we go. This is literally what it starts with. Owls don't often attack people, but when they do, it's not fun. These swift and silent night predators can swoop down, gouge the head of a camper or a hiker with their talons, then fly off before the person has a chance to wonder what just happened.
That's kind of funny, actually.
Most often, the attackers are either young owls who haven't yet learned to hunt well, or adult owls who feel threatened, which is why I think of barn owls, because you walk into an enclosed area with an animal.
That's
and
true.
And you accidentally corner them. And, yeah, so...
I just like the idea of them being stealthy, like sneaking through the night. You know, you can't hear them at all. They're just boom, you've been
dead,
attacked, and then they move on. I'm like, they're gone before you even see them. I like that's a neat concept for sure.
Well, I mean, that's what owls are.
That is what owls do. Yeah, they're silent.
They're very like stealthy raptors, so it's really cool. But they mostly kill small animals. Like the rest of this is nothing. But I remember when I was a kid, and like I was always told to, like, if you hear an owl, like to stay clear because they will attack you if they feel threatened by you. So that's also a thing here with snakes. Like in Kansas, now where I live, what the fuck? People are so lackadaisy with snakes here. Because like where I grew up, rattlesnakes were so prevalent and everywhere. I think I've talked about this.
Yeah, you have,
because I talk about it all the time. So it like freaks me out how lackadaisically people will just go up to snakes here. Because at first I was like, I have to make sure it's not a rattlesnake because it's been hammered into my brain. Because where I grew up, like you saw 3 or 4 rattlesnakes a year, and I have since moving to Kansas, I haven't seen one. So,
yeah, they really aren't prevalent here. Like they do exist, but they're just not a problem. You know, most of the snakes in Kansas.
Bitch, so
yes, I am.
Oh, you're still on that. Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just Kansas. It's not a problem for snakes. Like our biggest problems are more bugs than snakes. Honestly, you know, when you really get down to it. And dead armadillos. Yeah, there's a lot of armadillos that are just never alive for some reason. I don't know why.
Dead everywhere.
They just don't survive long in Kansas. All right, shall we move on? Number 4.
Number 4, swans.
I guess that makes sense.
Swans are stately creatures. As they glide slowly across the water, they normally appear calm and serene. However, if you approach their nests, they may reveal a very different character. Unlike birds of prey, swans attack primarily with their wings rather than beaks or claws.
Yeah.
And their wings are very large and strong, raise a terrific wind, and bruising whatever part of the person they hit. The worst swan attacks on people have not occurred on land, but in the swan's native element, the water.
How often are people in the water around a swan able to be attacked and close enough to a nest that the swan feels like their nest is in trouble?
I don't even know if you have to be close to a nest to do it. Like, I mean, I can imagine like a couple being out in a paddle boat and they're like, a swan, let's get close and look at it.
True.
And then they get close to the swan and the swan's like,
eat shit, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, wha-bam! Just smack him in the head. Oh.
Which, I mean, makes a lot of sense. I have seen swans attack really bad. I used to spend a lot of time in the poultry barn.
Yeah, fair.
When I was a little country lad. Which in our local county fair never had any swans or ducks or anything. But when you'd go to the state fair, like you would actually see a lot of these waterfowl be presented. Sometimes you would see them like have to be moved to like a different location, and they would exert so much force against the small little child that is supposed to be handling that animal. very often the swans had to be handled by the parents.
Yeah.
So this doesn't surprise me at all because those things are strong as shit.
That scans. Yeah, I was gonna say, and then swans are also, how closely associated to geese are they? Because that's one I'm expecting to be on. I'm expecting geese to be number one at this point, or emu to be number one. One of those two.
They are both waterfowl. I don't know how exactly closely they were related genetically, but they are both waterfowl.
Yeah,
but
waterfowl.
Since we
maybe
brought
we
it
should
up,
just avoid waterfowl.
Coming in at number 3, Canadian geese.
No, really? I thought they'd be 1 or 2. Okay, 3. Not far, but
coming
still.
In at number 3.
Yeah,
it's hard to believe. Remember when I teased an entry?
Yeah, you did?
Yeah, it's hard to believe now, but Canadian geese were once endangered.
Oh,
a ban on hunting or harassing them helped increase their numbers, but unfortunately, it also caused the birds to lose most of their fear of humans. Hence, in a matter of decades, they have become bold and aggressive. Naturally, Canadian geese will go after people who approach their nests, but other times, the attacks seem to have no provocation whatsoever.
I mean, true, yeah.
They fly right at your face and will bite you, as well as whack you with their wings. And while serious injuries usually come from trying to avoid the attack rather than the attack itself, that's a small comfort to someone nursing a head wound or broken bones.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, geese are just assholes. They're just really not scared of humans at all. But I heard the statement, a ban on hunting or harassing geese. And I'm like, how the fuck do you harass a goose? What does that mean?
Chase them, I guess. I don't know.
You just hurl slurs at them?
It's like you start yelling the F slur at a bunch of birds.
Hey, goose, you fucking.
Yeah.
It comes out as a hawk because that's what's really offensive to geese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, when you start trying to replicate their vocabulary and you use it in incorrect ways, it's very harassing.
Yeah.
I live in a place right now where there's geese in my front yard almost every other week.
Where you are. Oh,
because I don't know if this is doxing myself much, but
I'm gonna be careful. I can edit out. Just remember that.
Well, okay, yeah. I was gonna say I live in between 2 rivers.
Yes.
So, there's a lot of water around me for geese. When you take all the information I've provided on this podcast, you can probably triangulate very well.
I'm looking up exactly how many rivers there are in Kansas, so we could try and see where that would be. There's a lot of sets of 2 rivers, so I think you're fine. Fine.
Good. But that puts a lot of geese in my yard very often. My cats go fucking crazy because they think they have a smorgasbord of deliciousness out there.
Tasty.
Which also, I don't let my cats outside.
Smart.
I have strictly indoor cats. Yeah. If you have outdoor cats, please look into what that effects has on both your cat and the environment around you.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'll say on it. My cats go fucking crazy when they see those geese because they're like, holy shit, if I could just kill one of them, that's food for a week.
Give me one. Honestly, true. Geese are big.
They're massive.
They provide a lot of food if you know how to hunt them.
But also, they are terrifying. They will.
They really
hurt
are.
You.
Yeah.
And that's it's crazy. But they will attack.
Have you seen geese teeth? Have you seen the inside of their mouth? That is an eldritch horror. Those of you listening or watching the podcast, go look that up. Put this on pause. Go to Google. Look that up.
Look up goose teeth.
Goose teeth. It's terrifying.
I was again, I've spent a lot of time in the poultry barn. So, yes. And they also have serrated tongues.
Yeah, that's
it's
horrifying.
It's really, God was like, what if
this would really scare the shit out of people.
It's what if we just did this?
You know those knife things that humans invented a few trillion years ago? What if we just did that again? We'll show them.
Coming in at number 2.
Yeah.
We have ostriches.
Okay, yeah, ostriches and emus aren't the same, but they're pretty similar.
No, they are not the same.
Mean. Have you seen that one TikTok of the guy who owns pet ostriches and emus, and they constantly bite at him, and he'd have to smack him in the head with something?
No, I don't think I have.
No? Oh, that's funny. It's so funny. He's like, he calls them assholes all the time, and it looks like a frying pan, but I don't remember what it was. He proved it wasn't a frying pan. He just kind of like bats him along the head with it, and then they let go of his hand every time they bit him. He's like, yeah, he drew blood today, but you know what? It's fine. No, we'll put him in the hen house.
No, I have not seen that.
It's funny. I'll have to find it.
Though ostriches are generally mild-mannered, it's obvious from looking at them that you don't want to provoke an attack. Yeah. Standing as high as 9 feet and weighing over 200 pounds, ostriches compensate for lack of flight with amazing speed and strength and large claws used to grasp prey or dash away from predators.
Yeah.
They prefer to run rather than fight, but when cornered, ostriches will defend themselves. Any humans in the way will be lucky to escape without being injured or killed.
They'll be lucky to escape at all.
Because of ostrich farming, people are brought into frequent contact with the huge birds. Every year, it's not uncommon for at least one person to get killed by ostriches, making them the deadliest, but not most dangerous species on our list.
That doesn't surprise me. I am curious what number 1 is. If number 1's not the emu, because so they're hyping up the ostrich right now, it's got to be emu, right? Like Australia had a whole war.
But the war was not with the emus. I hope you know that, right?
I know, but it's funny. It's really funny.
I hope you know specifically that the emu wars were not with the emus themselves.
It's funnier if you say it was, Trace. Come on.
Okay, just want to make sure you know that.
I know, yeah.
First of all, when I was a kid, there was a family that lived really close to me that had Australian animals, which now looking back, was very illegal.
Yeah,
you were
no
not
kidding.
allowed to export animals from Australia. But they always said, they're like, oh yeah, no, like he goes to Australia all the time and comes back with animals. And I was like, that is smuggling.
Yeah, it really is.
You are smuggling animals. Which is illegal and not good, and I don't support it. But it did mean that I got to be really up close and personal with like emus when I was a kid, which was cool. But also, don't smuggle animals, I guess, is my final word on that. But they also had like a baby kangaroo that they had smuggled over, which I'm going to call it smuggling.
Yeah, that is absolutely smuggling.
Yeah, that they were raising, and like she would bring it, like the family would bring it to like basketball games in like a little pouch because it had to constantly be watched over.
Oh, that's really cute, actually.
But it's smuggling. Don't do that.
Yeah, it is smuggling. But like conceptually speaking, the only way to smuggle an emu into America, or a kangaroo into America, especially if it's just a little Joey, you'd have to like make a little pouch. I'm just imagining like this sweet lady. Like pretending she was pregnant, and in reality there's just a fucking kangaroo underneath her shirt.
Well, I think the difference is that they had pilot friends. So like they didn't have to do the actual international flight. Like they just had pilot.
Consequences of knowing pilots. Ugh.
Right. Fuck all pilots, I say as
I was gonna say we both have family members who are pilots.
Yeah. Like, we all hate pilots in this place. Fuck them all. Coming in at number 1.
Yeah. Number 1, heck yeah. What is it?
Cassowaries.
What?
Cassowaries.
That's not a word, Trace. You can't just make shit up at this podcast. I'm sorry. I draw the line at faking things.
We have what is commonly known as the most dangerous bird in the world, the cassowary. Native to Australia and Papua New Guinea, cassowaries are striking creatures over 6 feet tall with bright blue heads and red wattles.
What the fuck is a waddle?
It's a little dangly bit.
Yeah.
Although they are rare, cassowaries are among the only birds besides ostriches that have directly killed humans. They have tremendously strong legs with deadly 5-inch long talons. A kick by a cassowary can break bones and cause internal injuries. The talons can rip you apart. This is what happened in 2019 to a man in Florida who kept cassowaries. His neck was slashed as he laid on the ground.
Holy
It's risky sharing your home with the most dangerous bird in the world.
So I just looked at pictures of them. That's not a bird. That is a dinosaur.
That's a cassowary.
This is straight up a dinosaur. There's a picture of one eating a banana, and it's really funny to me.
Wasn't there a cassowary in The Rescuers Down Under, that Disney movie?
I didn't watch the
I feel like there
Rescuers
was.
Down Under. I'm sorry,
What?
Trace. I didn't watch it.
You didn't even... Did you watch The Rescuers at least?
Nope.
What?
Nope. I know it's. I know what it is, but I did not watch it. I'm sorry.
me win.
Yeah. Sorry. I distracted Trace by sending him a picture of a cassowary eating a banana. It's really funny, and I'm dying over this. And this is so goddamn funny.
He's throating that thing like a champion.
He really is. I might throw it on screen for those of you who are watching the video. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, like he is literally gobbling that thing down.
Yeah.
Well, what did we learn today?
We learned that Trace can dox himself. We learned that Milkshake's Making Out and Murder is our new podcast idea.
Yep.
We learned that this is not a podcast meant for learning things.
You learned what a cassowary is.
I learned what a cassowary is. I feel like I might have seen this before, but I just don't remember. But it's funny as hell. It looks great. It looks like a dinosaur. It genuinely. I can see this being terrifying. Like legitimately. Oh my god. Like even the little horn on its head. Oh.
Yeah, this thing. Literally, you describing this bird makes it even more sound like a dinosaur.
It really does. Like, yeah.
Maybe I'm like just desensitized to it just because like I've known about cassowaries for a very long time because I used to read every single animal book I could get my hands on.
That's fair.
But you know what? It is very dinosaur-esque.
I saw a picture of its feet. This just straight up looks like. Shut up, Trace. Shut up. Shut up.
Cassowary OnlyFans, but has the feet.
Oh my god. Yeah, we're wiki feet. Yeah, it's 10 out of 10.
Feet.
But yeah, it straight up looks like raptor claws. Like this looks like what you would see in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
That's the
and with that, we're now copyright struck. Hell yeah. All right, thanks for watching.
Oh, yeah, my perfect pitch. Thank you, everyone, for watching the podcast. It's been great to be back.
It has been. Oh my god, I'm so hyped for this. We're gonna be recording every week again. Hopefully, probably
for a while.
We're back for a while. Watch this be like a 1-episode special. We wind up disappearing. And then season 3 is like next year.
No, I will be going to Furrydelphia, so if you catch me there, say hi.
Nice.
So we'll have to record a little bit in advance.
Yeah, when is Furrydelphia? Oh, next weekend. Okay.
Next weekend we can record.
We can make that
2
happen.
episodes, and then after that, I'll be in Furrydelphia. Yeah. Have a great rest of your week. It's great to be back. Be gay.
Let us know. Let us know in the comments or in like my Discord server or in Trace's Twitter or literally anywhere you can contact us. What random miscellaneous ranked lists that you want us to cover? Because there's a lot out there, and we're struggling. I'm struggling at least to find some.
I'm not struggling.
Okay,
they pop up so often.
That's true. They do pop up very often. I always have a tough time finding ones that are like worth talking about though. Because like we did a Watch Mojo one today. A lot of Watch Mojos are completely worthless. There's nothing there.
Are we really here for the lists, or are we here for our shining personalities?
Yeah, but like we need to have something. We need to have something to at least let our personality shine. We can't just sit here and talk for no reason. What are we gonna do to clickbait the episode with?
Exactly. Feet.
You know what? Top 10 highest scoring wiki feet entries. Boom. Nailed it. That's the next episode. All right, y'all. See you next week when we talk about that for some. Why did I say that? We're actually now we have to commit to it.
Well, I'm not doing it. If that's the next episode, I refuse.
Thank God. Anyway, bye.
Fall in love.